Good morning. WHO says COVID no longer a global emergency. On May 5th, the World Health Organization (WHO) said COVID-19 no longer qualifies as a global emergency. It's with great hope that I declare COVID-19 over as a global health emergency, said WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. He said the pandemic had been on a downward trend for more than a year and that most countries have already returned to life before COVID-19, not really in Japan though. However, Tedros also said the pandemic had destroyed businesses, worsened political division, led to the spread of many misinformation, and made millions of people poor. He noted that while the official COVID-19 death toll is 7 million, the real figure is estimated to be at least 20 million. WHO officials also said that even though the emergency phase is over, the pandemic hasn't finished. Nothing recent rises in cases in Southeast Asia and the Middle East. The UN Health Emergency says the UN Health Agency says thousands of people are still dying from the virus every week. When the WHO first declared the coronavirus to be an international crisis on January 30th, 2020, wow, 3 years ago, there were no major outbreaks outside China. More than 3 years later, there have been an estimated 764 million cases of the virus globally, and about 5 billion people have received at least one dose of a vaccine. When Tedros declared COVID-19 to be an emergency in 2020, he said his greatest fear was how much it might spread in countries with weak health systems. But some of the countries with the worst COVID-19 death tolls were previously thought to be the best prepared for a pandemic, including the US and Britain. The US had the deadliest outbreak anywhere in the world. More than 1 million people died across the country. Dr. Michelle Ryan, the WHO's emergency chief, said world leaders must now negotiate a pandemic treaty to decide how future health threats should be faced. Ryan said some of the things that happened during COVID-19, including people trading for oxygen canisters, fighting to get into emergency rooms, and dying in parking lots because they couldn't get treated, must never happen again. Oh, that's a very sad thing to hear. It shouldn't happen again, ever. Discussion. What are your thoughts on the WHO's declaration? Do you remember when COVID-19 was declared an international crisis in January 2020? Has life returned to normal after the pandemic in your country? No. In what ways has your country changed as a result of the pandemic? How do you imagine the world would react in the event of another pandemic? For the discussion, do you know anyone who works in healthcare? Do you have any complaints about healthcare in your country? What countries do you imagine have the best healthcare in the world? What change do you hope to see in medicine and healthcare over your lifetime? What do you think people living 100 years from now will think of today's medicine and healthcare? I don't know if it's over or not, but to me it's over.